Hey, Ghost Machine fans, this one's for you.
Well, hello, my pretties, and welcome to the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast, episode 109. This time we descend into madness as the choice of the Butcher's freedom weighs heavily on the shoulders of all residents. What does this new chapter spell for he who so nefariously keeps score? I am Snoggle, and I'm joined as usual by my partner in crime, Nick. How are you doing this evening, my dear?
Little bit of summertime scare for the kiddies out there.
Not summertime sadness, summertime scare.
That's right. School's out, and it's time to get spooky with the new issue of Hyde Street and this episode of the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast.
I love it.
And a not so spooky turn of events in this episode is our shout out, which is to a new friend of the show and collaborator on social media, and that's Comics, Geek, and More. So that's the word comics, plural, the word geek, the word and the word more on Instagram. And that account recently sent us, it's Chris McFadden. And Chris sent us a collaboration request that was this fun video that he made that was basically saying he feels like he's late to the Ghost Machine party and he's putting himself on blast because he really likes all these comics. And so he's got a lot of folks commenting on it, and he was kind enough to collaborate with us on that, which we always love and always love to recognize in the shout outs. So thanks a lot, Chris. And if you haven't had a chance to, check out Chris's stuff too. Comics, Geek, and More. He looks like he has a lot of fun content on social media. And that's his Instagram profile. You can find him there.
Love it.
And enough about our new strangers who are friends on the internet, because Becky is back at the news desk.
So, today is Wednesday, May 27th, which is not only the release date for Hyde Street 12, which we will be deep diving into today, it's also the momentous prelude for the unbelievable summer crossover, and it will continue with Hornsby and Halo Zero, which comes out today. And we will be deep diving into that next week. So, lots of new books. I love it when the news is new books.
New books, new excitement, new crossover. And well, how cool was it that we're in the middle of this prelude for this new unbelievable crossover with the Rockefeller Zero last week and Hornsby and Halo Zero this week. And then out of nowhere, it's like, dun, 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 Hyde Street. Oh, yeah, I need some more Hyde Street in my life, too.
You know, obviously won't spoil anything yet in case someone is listening to this that hasn't read the book. But I was pleasantly surprised when this was what we were reading. I'm like, it's been a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very great issue as well. Yeah. And we're going to get into it. But in order to do that properly, we need to take a look at the covers that are available to you today at your local comic book shop, if you're going to go out and get your hot little hands on a copy of Hyde Street 11. And that first cover is a whammy. It's a wraparound, baby.
I know. Incredible. Well, you know I love me a wraparound cover. So it's Ivan Reese, Danny Mickey, Brad Anderson. It is beautiful. I mean, we've got all of the people from Hyde Street, right? And some characters I don't believe we've seen yet.
From left to right, you can see Doe and Dee, the nurses, the butcher, the scorekeeper, the
monkey,
and the piranha people a little teeny bit right underneath in the tank.
Yeah.
And then there's a woman in like jungle attire, and I believe that's Raquel Vane, an allegory for Raquel Welch during that era. There's somebody who's got like medals and like a militaristic uniform. He looks to me like an Eastern European or Czechoslovakian military person. He has a bunch of medals, a large beard, and he's also grimacing. And then there's a woman like just next to him. There's what looks like a nanny or a, what do you call it? Like a clean up, a maid. And then,
what do you call it? A maid?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Sisterhood, Dr. Ego, Oscar Oddman, Frankie, Mr. X-Ray, and Miss Goodbody. Obviously. And did you notice how some of the cereal boxes that are from the Ghoul Grains are in the pile there on the bottom? I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I did. And I like the scorekeepers on the left, and this is a great cover.
Yeah.
Shout out to this cover.
I really thought it was cool how they signed their names in like the Hyde Street thing next to the scorekeeper's face. And I also wanted to say that this spread, if you go on threadless.com, you can actually buy an art print of this 2-page spread cover without the image deal. I think it's just like the cover itself. It's like a virgin cover. So I'm going to do that. That's really, really cool. What'd you think of the B cover, Snoggle, which is by somebody we really like? We like Francis Portela, and we like these negative space covers.
I mean, that's the main thing I was going to call out there is the negative space. It somehow makes it more sinister, that glint on the knife or machete. Yeah. Is that a machete? I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah. And you're right. I think that it definitely makes it more sinister. We've seen a couple of these with other characters, and there's also some cool designs on Threadless, again, that have to do with this. But in this case, Brad Anderson still did the colors. And to me, it's a good example of how very different art styles can be colored very differently as well, because the tone of the colors in the A cover is very different than the tone and effect of the colors in the B cover.
And then we get to the C cover.
Yeah, that's different.
It is one of the most evil covers of Hyde Street I've seen.
Definitely. So Pranky, and like, what would you call him? Like a sprite? He looks like a sprite because he's got like devil hair and angel wings.
Yeah.
Or something.
Evil little. Oh my gosh, he's so scary. And the fact that, I mean, obviously, this cover's not for the weak at heart because there's people hanging in that tree.
There are. And so you know that from two intelligent ways. And so this cover is by artist Julia Inez Mamon. And I hope I've got that right. And you know that there are people hanging in the tree because you see feet above him. And then you see nooses tied like around him, but you don't necessarily ever see anybody's head in a noose. And that's smart art to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Julia.
So. Yeah, it's very sinister. His eyes in this one are just
yeah.
Gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Freaky deaky. So welcome to the party, Julia Inez Mamon. That's a new artist. I don't think we've seen Julia do any other covers for Ghost Machine. And that terrifyingly sets the tone for this issue, making it the perfect time for your spoiler pause for Hyde Street 12.
You've been warned.
All right, we've made it. Hopefully, we don't end up like the victim in a horror movie and we can get through this one. safely. It was a really good issue. Catch us up, and I'm starting to get used to this. There is a street just around the corner. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
kind of like Simon saying anything but or whatever.
Yeah. We get our typical entrance of it's a place we call Hyde Street. But I will say I like the progression of these panels, because the first one we get like the street lights just starting to turn on. Nothing's exactly ominous yet,
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one is so scary. I can only imagine that lightning. Is that around the castle that Pranky is climbing?
Yeah, I believe so.
The colors in that panel are fantastic. They make it look spooky and out of this world.
And it's got a thunder and lightning there a lot because it's the world of like the monster in the movie or whatever, and that's his castle.
And, then it's a place we call Hyde Street, and Pranky, after the prior book, seeing his mother, feeling like he can save her. At the same time, we have Mr. X-Ray also experiencing visions of his daughter. So that's where we were at before. So we're brought back to Pranky is going to free the butcher. That's what's happening. We turn the page and it's I'm coming, Ma. That is a fantastic splash page.
Of Pranky at the top of one of the towers above the castle, and you can see the mad scientist, stuff sticking off the other towers with the theme of this castle. And the reason he's going to free the butcher is because, if we recall, the butcher said he could get him to his mother, because when he had the mask on, the werewolf mask, he had to put on the X-ray glasses, and the X-ray glasses had him have a vision of his mom in a camp in the war and what happened there and his birth. And then somehow he was able to interact with the vision, and the butcher was there too, which allowed him to talk to the butcher. And that resulted in the butcher extending an offer to him that if he were to let him out of his prison, he would get the boy connected with his mother, essentially. Very honest and noble intent that the butcher has. I'm sure it will work out.
And we go straight to, so Pranky's on top of the castle, right? And we go straight to Sisterhood in the Matinee Monster. And she's essentially saying, well, the butcher is claiming someone's trying to get in here. And I think there is a part of her that obviously wants that to be true. And she pulled Mr. X-Ray's daughter's card. So now she has to leave to go get, hey, we got to figure out what's going on.
Because the butcher's saying someone is making it through to Hyde Street somehow, like opening a door. They have a power and they think it's her. And that does jive a little bit with what we have with the, what Mr. X-Ray. But I really love this subtle moment between herself and her sister in the bird, because she tells Oscar that if she finds a way out, she'll return for him.
Yeah.
Then she's leaving, and the bird makes some noises. Rob does this great job of just making very easy KEET bird lettering there. And she's talking
bird lettering.
Bird letters. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the bird. That's cool. And she says, enough, Lucinda. Yes, I lied to him. If there is a way out, we do not bring Oscar with us. Whatever he once was, he belongs to this place now. And it's just, that's rough. And it does clarify, they can talk.
Also, I mean, I do love whenever a character comes outside of the panel. So, the top of her head is, the art is really good. But you can almost feel her aggravation, like, enough, Lucinda. because we don't know what her sister's saying.
And she's saying she's doing it to save her.
Yeah. And I do like this panel too, because Frankie's like, okay, sisterhood's gone. That means I only have to deal with one person in this crazy castle. He's watching her walk. He's on the windowsill watching her run away.
Yeah. And that gives him a leg up because he heard it. And
yep.
That a lot when he walks in the door, first thing he does is tell Oscar she lied, she's not coming back. And he knows, you can tell like that he's not surprised. He's not moved by that.
Yeah.
Which gives the butcher the opportunity to kind of explain and enrage him.
He loves her. I love the fact that when Frankie says this, the monster, Oscar, he turns around to look at him, and without saying a single word or being able to see his eyes, Frankie can understand what he's saying. And I feel like we kind of can too. You know what I mean? That's great art and storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so cruel. He wept for months. The sound crawled into the stone.
And he's making a case to Oscar. Frankie is making a case to Oscar about why the butcher is maybe not a bad guy, and he could be powerful enough to even hurt the scorekeeper, because it's like, he helped me see my mother. I bet he can help you too, he says to Oscar.
I like in that middle panel, you leapt aside. You let me finish it. And there's a little asterisk and it says issue number 8. Because that happened in issue 8.
Yeah, that's a I don't know what that's called in comics, but that's one of those things in comics.
Callback, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. But it's a really common thing, and it's one of those things that makes you reminded, I'm reading an ongoing comic series. It used to be much more common back in the day, but it would be goofy stuff. It would be like you're reading a comic in 1990 and there would be an asterisk and it would be like a comic from 1982. So you had to go back and find it. Or it was like a recent thing, so you would know what issue to go find if you missed it. So this would be a good example. If this was my first comic, my first Ghost Machine comic, I could read that and be like, ooh, okay. I got to start piecing this together.
Yeah.
And the butcher is just sitting there in that prison saying that he, in short, can hurt the scorekeeper if they let him out. No matter what, you can tell Oscar's, I bet, has a greater sense of nope, it's not worth it, buddy. There's no way you can trust this guy.
I also think that he knows the reason that the butcher was locked up, which we will get to. And he doesn't really speak words. Also, we need to point out that in these 6 panels, the first one we see Frankie in, he looks completely innocent. I bet he can help you too. And then we go back to Demon Frankie right underneath it. And I really like that because he's showing his real colors, So move.
Yeah, that is a cool juxtaposition, top and bottom there. And then when he says now in the next panel, as he's attacking Oscar, it's in that cool demonic red. It makes you know he's succumbing to the evil side of him or whatever.
Oh, yeah. And at first, we get 2 fighting panels, and it does not look good for Frankie, the butcher. We still haven't seen his face, but he says, come on, fight for me, boy.
Right.
Oh, and then sadness. Straight to Mr. X-Ray. Judy!
And it ties well together, though, because what happened before was it was somebody who looked like Judy, at least the Judy when she was younger, had opened a portal that he was able to see for a moment and then dissipated. And this picks up at that point, because he's like, Judy, where are you? And Dr. Ego there appear, who is present, does not appear to basically have seen that at all.
Yeah. I love all of the colors on this page. You've got like that. You can tell something mysterious just happened, by the way. The like pink and purple wispy magic stuff.
Clearly something's dissipating.
Yeah. And what are you doing, Frederick? Just the background of this page. I like that.
And he says he saw Judy, and Dr. Ego asks how old, and then points out that it doesn't make sense for him to see her in the form that she was in decades ago, because they know that was in 1955, and he talks about it like it's at least the 90s, which makes sense because Dr. Ego was 90s guy.
Yeah.
But either way, the point is, it's like, that's interesting. And like, to me, as a Jeff Johns fan, that wouldn't be said unless you were meant to pay a little attention to that. Like, oh, okay. So that's probably not really his daughter. Because up until that moment, I was thinking, well, who cares if she hasn't aged? Maybe she's trying to reach him back then, and time is irrelevant in Hyde Street or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You and I had discussed that a smidgen. Is time not a thing in this other realm? So if he does get out, he gets back out in his actual time period. But I kind of think, especially with the mention of the Edmund Ripley, which now they're going to investigate, which I'm excited to find out about, it feels like it was not his daughter. But what a cruel trick, right?
And what you're saying is that his daughter mentioned the scorekeeper's name was Edmund Ripley, and Frederick X-Ray, he's saying that his glasses show the truth. And does the name Edmund Ripley mean anything to you? And so he sets his crazy nurses on that. And
we get to them, and they are gossiping about Miss Goodbody.
It's a good segue, or a good, transition or whatever, I suppose, because like he's got them, off looking for Edmund Ripley information. Apparently, Hyde Street is pre-internet, pre-database, thing of that nature, and so they're in there like looking through a bunch of files in the doctor's office, and they talk about Miss Goodbody, how she's still trapped in her place, and they show she's got that score 9,999, and nobody will come by from her because Pranky put all these signs up to make it look closed, and then she has a customer.
I know. Hello? And she does look deranged, just been crying.
Right. She's crying, she's trapped, but there's somebody there. She's like, let me in. My husband left me. I want him to want me again. And then I want to ruin him. But she can't get the door open because it's stuck.
I love her response. I don't care what you do. Open the door already. Like, come on. There has to be some magic there, because it doesn't seem like she could open the door. Maybe she really is afraid to leave.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, well, yeah, we don't know definitively on that, but you get the impression she can't, that she has to draw people in and close them with her lies and manipulations and her product. But it's a fast-paced issue, right? Like, there's momentum gaining, because on the next page switches right back to the fight between Pranky and Oscar, which they're still romping and breaking stuff and all that. Then Pranky ends up defeating him in this like unexpected way, because he's got like a trap essentially waiting to zap him. It looks like he flips the switch in a backpack.
Yes, I do, by the way, really love. It's like, right, the poor monster is dead, but now it's alive.
I know. I really liked it. Like, there's that. I don't know what you call that, because obviously it's a reference to Young Frankenstein, and really just something that we associate colloquially with Frankenstein.
Yeah,
and it just feels good.
Yeah, it does.
When somebody does that. So hats off to you, creative people that made me smile in that moment, and Snoggle.
Yeah.
And
I think this is, by the way, so then he defeats him. And then Pranky's bragging about what he did. Pretty neat trick, huh? And he's trying to go on about how he did it. And the butcher goes, yes, you're clever. Now open the door. So he seems, I know he wants out, but he's very adamant to get out as quickly as possible.
yes, that's true. And Pranky has the total innocent vibe back. Like you think he feels like, oh, now I've met somebody who's going to help me. It's all good. I figured out something good to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he can find my mom. You can really do that, right?
Oh my gosh. I just want to tell everyone, I turned the page. I was reading this. Nick was doing something with our son that I believe involved Pokemon cards. And I went, oh, I audibly gasped.
Yes,
Because the
that's
butcher
true.
ran him through. And what a great, the white background, the blood. Oh!
Yeah, Yvonne, man, that page with that white background and nothing but that incredible, like, it's hard to imagine a human being did that. Human beings, right? Danny,
Yeah.
Brad, like, whoo, buddy, that's an incredible page of art right there.
And listen, the butcher might be the most cruel of them all at this point. Because not only did he show Pranky somehow or get into Pranky's dream or whatever, your mother is not coming. You'll never see her again. And I think he literally like chops them in half.
Yeah, he does. He quite literally does. And to me, that's to definitively indicate that he has made him perish. I don't know if I would say killed him or whatever, because these are magical beings in a horrific land. But
no, I do think it killed him. Because the next thing we get to, the deliveries, we see the scorekeeper sitting there. And at the beginning of this, the Butcher of Hyde Street, it says 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then it changes to 10. Mm.
And the scorekeeper has a visceral reaction to that, the actual physical reaction where he's like, he clutches at his chest in pain. And then on the
it's
next,
a little purple glow too. You see that?
In his eye, yeah, he does. And then you see like he's out of breath or whatever in the next panel, and his veins are all tight. And he says, another resident lost and the butcher free. And you got to think, we wondered at some point, like, how long this had been around. And it's only a couple 100 years that Hyde Street has been around. And we know that there's a new resident every 10. So if the butcher kills residents and nobody else, then one would presume that if he kills all the residents, then he kills the scorekeeper. And like, that's why it's curious, like, what really is this? And we have no idea. We have no idea what Hyde Street really is, I bet.
Yeah.
And I really did think this was cool how you had Miss Goodbody and the lady in one set of panels, and then Sisterhood trying to get to Mr. X-Ray in the other, and it's back and forth and back and forth. It builds a great momentum. Because Sisterhood's trying to get into Mr. X-Ray to talk to him about his daughter.
Oh, yeah. So the butcher says, you are only another ugly soul, a distraction, a way to keep the rest of us starving.
Wonder what that means.
I don't know, but it like opens up so many questions.
Yeah, the rest of us starving. Like to slut. Well, that's also a very ironic statement.
Yeah.
Right? In that there. But he breaks through into Miss Goodbody's shop by throwing the woman through the windows. And he says, at last, a resident, because we know he's going through trying to kill as many of them as he can. And on the preview page for the next issue, it says, Miss Goodbody learns there's no escaping the Butcher of Hyde Street.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Not Miss Goodbody.
Yeah, I'm sure. I want to know, where's Pranky now? There's been a lot of Pranky in my life for like 2 years. You
I
know,
hate to tell this to you, but I think, the number changed, so I think he's dead.
Well, but where is he? Now we got to find out. Like,
Hyde Street number 2.
I just want to know. We got to find out. Out. Yep.
Great book.
Super great book. And just as a reminder, next week we'll be talking about Hornsby and Halo Zero, which is part 2 of the Unbelievables crossover prelude. But before we wrap up this episode of the Ghost Machine Fans podcast, we have a listener mail that is pretty straightforward.
What kind of mail do we have?
Oh, it's even in the notes. It's a fantastic mail from Alice.
She says, "Hello, Becky and Nick. Thank you for your podcast. It's a lot of fun and helps with the wait between issues. Will you always deep dive an issue on the day it comes out? And if there is more than one, will you do both issues? Keep up the good work."
Hey, thanks.
So I can respond to this. First of all, thank you. We've done that in the past where multiple books came out, and
the reason that, to answer your question, this is actually a very apt episode for that, right? Because there were 2 issues that came out today, and we only talked about one of them. So for some time, we used to do multiple issues in an episode if multiple issues had come out, or even before we were doing them the day of release, we would sometimes do multiple issues in an episode because we wanted to keep up with everything that is coming out. And what we found is that by doing that, we would occasionally have weeks where there wasn't something that had come out. And we had really wished that on those occasions where there were multiple, that we had spread it out to, make sure that we had something, even though we've always come up with something. We do the deep dives the day of release whenever we can. But if there are 2 issues or even more, we'll pick one and then we'll do that from now on, which we've been doing it that way for a while. And then we'll do the second one on the following episode, unless there's something different that comes out or an interview or other stuff that we have to talk about. What do you think about that, Snoggle? Is it better not to do 2 like we used to?
I think it's better.
I do.
I like to really appreciate a 1-book deep dive.
Yeah, and I think as a listener, I would prefer to listen to one at a time. So. But thank you for the wonderful message.
Yes.
And if you would like to send us an email or a DM, you can do that on the socials or email us at ghostmachinefans@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And if you'd like to check out all of our other content, you can do so by going to www.ghostmachinefans.com, where you'll find our social platforms, our wiki, and if you'd like to join the conversation on Discord, you can find the invite link on our profile on Instagram at Ghost Machine Fans or on the Ghost Machine Comics Reddit in the announcements.
And thanks so much for joining us tonight on the Ghost Machine Fans podcast.
Snoggle was a witch podcast for Hyde Street.